This is as low as it gets.
Notre Dame was shocked last Saturday, but it's just one loss, and the season has barely begun. Can Notre Dame bounce back?
There's only one option for me, and that's to get back to work and get it fixed.
Today, the Fighting Irish head south for an in-state rivalry on WSBT-22. Purdue has its own young coach and a program eager to shock the world.
I know Coach Freeman will have those guys fired up and ready to play.
It's the Boilermakers and the Fighting Irish. Now on WSBT-22.
You are looking at Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette, Indiana. In 1 hour from now, Notre Dame will face Purdue right here on WSBT-22. Will the Fighting Irish be able to bounce back? We are about to find out. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this live presentation of WSBT-22 Sports. I'm Pete Byrne alongside Bennett Wise and Bennett. There are fans all over the concourse here outside Ross-Ade Stadium. A lot of interest heading into this Irish and Purdue rivalry, a game that they've been playing for a very long time.
That they have. They played every single year from 1946 to 2014 before the rivalry took a short break. They've only played 2 times since then, and you can tell the excitement from everybody around the concourse. A lot of people wearing both Purdue and Notre Dame gear at the same time.
We're going to spend the next 30 minutes getting you ready for kickoff, but before we do that, we're going to have to take a look at how we got here. Last week, Notre Dame was shocked by Northern Illinois. A 4-touchdown underdog from the MAC Conference came into Notre Dame Stadium and upset the then number 5 team in the country. Notre Dame had the football and the lead with 6 minutes to go, and the Irish were marching towards a potential game-ending score when Riley Leonard badly underthrew an open receiver and was intercepted by the Huskies. Northern Illinois would take over the football, methodically move it into field goal range while simultaneously bleeding the clock down to under a minute, and the Huskies kicked a game-winning field goal to hand Notre Dame one of its most unlikely defeats in a long time. That loss knocked Notre Dame from 5th all the way to 18th in the AP poll, and suddenly has fans doubting their potential to make the college football playoffs. A turnaround, if it's going to happen, needs to start here this week. Here's what Marcus Freeman told us a few days ago.
Everybody says, hey, you're going to the playoffs, you got an easy schedule. We all hear it. And I think we started to believe that. And it's easy to listen to the good things. Nobody wants to hear the bad things, people say, but neither of them should matter. Your approach should be your approach. Your routine should be your routine. And that's the challenge we have as a football program, is how do we handle success and make sure each week we're approaching the opponent the right way. The reality is that we have the talent. We have coaching staff to be a great football team. Much better than we displayed on Saturday, but we have a lot of work to do to ensure that we perform that way each opportunity we get.
Been a week full of work. Notre Dame has spent the past 6 days trying to put that loss to Northern Illinois behind them, Bennett. We've had a chance to speak with several of the Irish players and coaches this week. Understandably, they're very frustrated with what they put out there on the field a week ago.
That they are, and Marcus Freeman attributed to sort of a lack in the mental approach to this game. Some players said it was a lack of emotion or intensity, and you could kind of see it too. Guys flat-footed at times on both sides of the ball, but for whatever the reason may be, the Irish practice with a salty taste in their mouths this week and are determined to not have a repeat performance today against Purdue.
You know, for the game, we didn't play to our standard, and I think, I'm as mad as everybody else, but I think, find the silver lining is that this is something that we can work on and use as a reminder, like, hey, like, we can't ever let this happen again.
You just had that feeling that everyone kind of had in their stomach. Just trying to use that feeling that we all had, because we don't want to face that again. And just using that as a motivator and to propel us and propel for the future.
Confidence is a fragile thing, and it's something that you've got to continue to build on. And where you build on it is right out there on those practice fields. And the message from me to those guys is, listen, we can't get all the way to where we want to go in 4 days, but we can be better Tuesday than we were Monday. We can be better Wednesday than we were Tuesday. We can be better Thursday than we were Wednesday, and start stacking these days together. And the end result is something that the Irish faithful is going to be happy with.
And the Irish faithful certainly putting a lot of pressure on this team, and especially Mike Denbrock. We know his intensity that he can have. I'm sure he'll have the guys ready this week to not have this repeat performance from last week against NIU.
Certainly you want to be getting better week to week. I think the real frustrating part for Notre Dame a week ago wasn't that they didn't improve, it's that they regressed. We saw it in the running game, we saw it in the defense, and in several other areas of concern, and also areas that we're going to talk about coming up here in the next half hour. But right now we need to take a break. But coming up on the program, the Fighting Irish may be in bounce back mode, but the Boilermakers bring an entirely different vibe into today's game. We're going to take a closer look at the Purdue football team when the Notre Dame football pregame special continues here on WSBT-22. You cannot beat a college football Saturday in the Midwest. We're in West Lafayette. Not long ago, the Boilers got off the bus and marched inside Ross-Ade Stadium, where they are getting ready to take on the Fighting Irish this afternoon. Right here behind us, a game you can see right here on WSBT-22. Welcome back to our pregame special, everyone. Pete Byrne along with Bennett Wise coming to you live from West Lafayette. Bennett, we're going to take a look at the Boilermakers a little bit. They've played one game, and albeit a very small sample size, but they have looked very impressive in their one showing this year.
Yeah, the week one win over Indiana State, it was 49-0. And after that week one win, they ranked 11th in the country in scoring offense. And of course, a shutout will put you at #1 in the country defensively. And the Boilermakers, they know what's coming in terms of Notre Dame and the approach that they will likely have when they take the field this afternoon. Purdue coming off that bye week last week after a week one dismantling of Indiana State, in which 7 different players scored. And quarterback Hudson Card set the FBS single game record with a 96% completion rating, connecting on 24 of 25 passes. And head coach Ryan Welter said the bye week for him was focused on fundamentals and, of course, watching Notre Dame for the week ahead.
We're going to err on the side of thinking they're going to be an angry football team. Anytime you are top 5 in the country and lose the home opener, that's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. I know Coach Freeman will have those guys fired up and ready to play. So we're fully anticipating getting their best shot.
And Pete, there are definitely some players on Purdue looking to make a big impact today. I'm looking at particular tight end Max Clare taking over for Payne Durham at the tight end spot. And then also 3 transfer wide receivers, all of them long. Jamal Edrin, Leland Smith and Denylon Morris that all had a huge impact in that Week 1 win over Indiana State. You can't rule out the run game with Devin Mockabee either.
Yeah, and I'll also just say this. If Hudson Card completes 96% of his passes, it's going to be a long day for Notre Dame. Now, I don't think the number will be that high. As we take a closer look, Notre Dame and Purdue, they've had a great rivalry over the years. They've played 87 times in all in a rivalry that dates all the way back to the late 1800s. You mentioned they've played 69 games in a row in a stretch post-World War II. Notre Dame does hold a hefty edge in this rivalry, and Purdue hasn't won a game in this series since 2007. So the Boilermaker players know that a win over the Irish today would be very big for their program.
I think it's definitely one that, we've had our eye on, and we want to go out there and execute to the best of our ability. It's going to be a big game. Ross Aid's going to be jumping and everything like that.
What would it mean to knock off the Irish this weekend?
It'd mean a lot. We played them a couple years ago, my freshman year. I didn't get to play. It'd be cool. It's going to be cool, playing against these guys. We know there's a trophy involved, so yeah, we're trying to spread around the room this is bigger than just a big team, you know what I mean?
It's a trophy game, Can't even remember the last time Purdue beat Notre Dame. I know it would mean a lot to everybody, We put in work for a long time, just to come in and beat whoever we play on Saturday. So, it would definitely mean a lot.
Well, we know the last time the Boilers beat Notre Dame. It was 2007. It was a while ago, but they have the moniker Spoilermakers for a reason. Since 2018, Purdue has played 16 games against top 25 teams. They've been underdogs in all of them. They've gone 7-9, so this is a program that provides a dangerous opponent when you play them, especially here on the road.
Absolutely, and when you think about this team right now, obviously you can't take much away from the Week 1 game against Indiana State, but they're an unproven team altogether, and I think that makes them more dangerous because there is that proven game factor, and what better way to do it against Notre Dame.
We're going to find out right here later today, but right now we need to take a timeout on the program. But when we come back, Eric Hansen from Inside ND Sports joins us on the program to offer his thoughts on today's game and help us break down this matchup. You're watching the Notre Dame football pregame special on WSBT-22.
This isn't the end of our season, and we know that. Yeah, this sucks. Use that. You're going to be hearing it all week, we suck. All right, use that, because with all due respect, 7 days, we're on the field again.
Welcome back. We are coming to you live from West Lafayette, Indiana, where Notre Dame and Purdue are about 45 minutes away from kickoff. And as you can see, we've We've got a friend with us today, our good buddy Eric Hansen, co-publisher of Inside ND Sports. Eric, we appreciate the time. We've got some news to talk about. Notre Dame just released its pregame injury report, and if you're an Irish fan, you're probably happy with the names that aren't on it.
Right, and I'm doing this without a clipboard, but there's a very short list. Josh Burnham, the defensive end who played a career-high 53 snaps in the last game, he's out with a bad ankle. That means R.J. Oben, who was benched, and freshman Bryce Young are going to have to step up at that position. And then Riley Leonard is not on the missing report, and I think that's significant as well.
Significant because he's going to play, and I think a lot of us are curious, how long of a leash does he have today if his performance isn't better than what we saw a week ago?
I think his health really calculates into how long the leash is. I think if Riley Leonard is fully healthy, they're going to be much more patient with him. If he gets hit and they feel like he's physically compromised, then we may see them pull him. And we also saw back in 2009, we had Dane Christ on our podcast when Jimmy Clausen wasn't fully healthy. They played some series just to preserve Jimmy for the end of the game with Dane Christ. So that's something else we could possibly see.
Now, in terms of the defense, Eric, we didn't necessarily see the performance that they had week one. Secondary didn't necessarily hold up. What will it take, especially against this Purdue team that loves to throw the ball down the field with this air raid offense? What can we see from the defense today?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to be able to be prepared to stop both, because Northern Illinois really had their way with Notre Dame on the line of scrimmage and running the ball. And Purdue does lean into the run for an air raid team more than you would think. But yeah, they're going to be testing Notre Dame deep. Ben Morrison didn't have one of his better games. I think you'll see Notre Dame's defense step up in this game, but it really starts with stopping the run and getting Purdue into those third and longs today.
Eric, as you look around the stadium here, it's clear this is a really big game for Purdue fans. They love the game against Notre Dame. I think arguably they have more to win in this game than Notre Dame does big picture, but for Notre Dame, this is kind of a big litmus test coming off last week in terms of who they really are and how do they respond, kind of big picture.
Yeah, I think this is a big game for Marcus Freeman. I mean, he's in his third year. These have always been historically defining. And I thought about it a lot this week. There's a lot to like about Marcus Freeman, but there's some big blind spots and still some big growing pains. And this is going to be a real test to me on how he deals with that and what he was able to learn from the last game, because he's not going to get a second chance as far as winning people over anytime soon if they don't win today.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're all curious to see that. We're going to be able to find it out a little bit more than 30 minutes from now right here on WSBT-22. Eric, thanks as always for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You can catch his coverage online at InsideNDSports.com, not only tonight after the game, but all season long. We need to take another quick break here on the program, but when we come back, Marcus Freeman makes a return to this stadium right here where he spent 4 years honing his craft as an assistant coach. He speaks with us about his time here in West Lafayette when we come back with more right after this. The last time Notre Dame traveled to Ross-Ade Stadium, Tommy Rees was under center, and the Irish had their hands full. Notre Dame trailed the Boilermakers in the fourth quarter until Rees hit DeVaris Daniels for a tying touchdown. That would turn into Daniels' biggest night ever in an Irish uniform. On the next series, Rees hit Daniels along the sideline, and he raced away for an 82-yard go-ahead score. Notre Dame would score once more and hang on to beat Purdue that night, 31-24. And welcome back. We are coming to you live from West Lafayette, where we're counting you down to kickoff between Notre Dame and Purdue this afternoon. Bennett, Notre Dame offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock was on the Fighting Irish coaching staff the last time they came here and played. Of course, he was in a different role as a wide receivers coach, and he certainly has his hands full today.
That he does, especially when you make the promises in the offseason of being an explosive offense this year with your new quarterback, a revamped wide receiver room, and everything like that. But they simply haven't moved the ball well. And on the year, Riley Leonard has a completion percentage of just over 60%. And earlier this week, Mike Denbrock cited multiple reasons for a lack of efficiency in the pass game, like protection from the offensive line and route running from the wide receivers, but also shares his process for determining in-game adjustments for his quarterback and the offense.
There's in-game adjustments that happen all the time, whether that's what the defense is doing, whether that's what we're not doing well, whether they're taking certain things away from us. All those things go into consideration, and it's something that we have been working on every single day. And it's been a little bit of, a little protection issue here. It's been a route depth there. It's been a better decision needing to be made, maybe a better scheme needed to be designed. It's been a combination of all those things at one time or another. And we've got to get more consistent in all areas across our passing game and get that thing off the ground, because it's needed here moving forward for sure.
And Pete, if you think Notre Dame would be a successful offense, you think maybe one of those areas is an issue, not the entire thing, and that's certainly not what you expect when you bring in an offensive coordinator like Mike Denbrock with his history.
It shines the spotlight on him, and of course, nobody's going to have a bigger spotlight on them today than Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman. And while this isn't a big secret, there are a lot of people that maybe don't realize that he actually got his first big break as a coach right here at Purdue. The Boilers hired him as their linebackers coach when he was just 27 years old. After 3 years, he was promoted to their defensive coordinator, and really his career has been on a very steep rise ever since. Before the season started, I sat down one-on-one with the Irish head coach, and I asked him about the time he spent here in West Lafayette.
In week 3, you're going to go back to Purdue, where you spent 4 years as a younger coach. What are some of your memories of coaching there, and will that be a nostalgic trip for you?
I know it's changed since I've been there. You're talking about 13 to 16, almost 10 years ago. It's changed in terms of, I think the stadium's changed. That drum's going to be there. I know that. That big old drum's going to be there, and I'm going to be beating it. But I'm sure, I don't know Ryan Walters really, really well, but I know him well enough that they'll be ready to go, and they're going to be prepared. And when that opportunity comes, it's going to be a great opponent. But I mean, it's exciting to go back just because you had a lot of memories there. You're talking about 4 years of your life. You had multiple children there. Those were great times. I know we might not have won as many games as we wanted to, but I really enjoyed my family being able to grow up in West Lafayette for those 4 years.
Well, he's right about one thing. That big drum is here inside that stadium. And he mentioned they didn't win as much as he thought, but you learn from failure. He learned, ideally, you would think about how to bounce back, and that's a trait that Irish fans hope they see him play today.
Especially just given the circumstances, like even Eric Hansen mentioned, with this being his 3rd year, you think he would learn from mistakes like a loss to Stanford or a loss to Marshall. And this is kind of one of those games that you circle on the calendar of, okay, this is a real game, and what can you do to sort of rebound from last week and also take this program a step forward?
You do get a sense we'll know more about this team about 4 hours from now. Meanwhile, we're going to take one final break, but when we come back, kickoff is right around the corner. We're going to wrap things up from Ross-Ade Stadium and get you set for the Irish and the Boilers right after this. Welcome back to West Lafayette. Bennett, the fans are filing into Ross-Ade Stadium. I guess that's our cue. We better hit in there as well.
Yeah, we might as well. A lot of fans starting to come together, and I can imagine it's going to be a pretty packed stadium.
Notre Dame and Purdue kickoff right here at Ross-Ade Stadium at 3:30 this afternoon here on WSBT-22. The CBS College Football Today show is next, followed by the Irish and the Boilers. And, of course, we will be back here tonight with all the highlights and the post-game reaction of Notre Dame and Purdue. But we thank you for watching us this afternoon. Enjoy the game.